tune in every weeknight at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on youtube.com/C/Sirius Mindz RnTv. And make sure you like, subscribe, and share. Sirius Mindz for Sirius Mindz, seriously. Peace.
Okay.
Peace, everyone. We would like to welcome you to the Sister Cypher. Thank you to everyone joining us right now. We ask that you please subscribe, like, and share. If you would like to donate to the platform, you can do so in Super Chat, or you can hit up Professor Griff at PayPal, or you can hit him up on Cash Out. I have with me today Carrie, aka Cat Boogie, and I also have Alex Little with us today as well. Ladies, you'd like to say hello to everyone in the chat room?
Greetings, blessings, everyone.
Peace, Sirius Mindz family, peace.
Alrighty, so what we're going to discuss on tonight's session is the Byron Allen lawsuit. And I think it's important for us to discuss it because it does affect us. Even if you don't think it does, it does. If you're trying to do an independent media, or if you're dealing with contracts or anything, this basically affects everyone. And so what I'm going to do is actually pull from the article to kind of lay the footwork and the foundation down, so that everybody has a really good understanding of why this lawsuit is happening and how it's going to affect people in the Black community. So, the comedian and media mogul Byron Allen, one of the few Black-owned media companies, has officially put Comcast on notice. Now that the U.S. Supreme Court has agreed to hear his $20 billion racial bias lawsuit, together, Comcast and Charter Communications cable distribution reaches about 36 million subscribers. And they have been blocking Allen from getting access to them. This is more than just a case of racial bias, rather one of civil rights, which is why he's seeking $20 billion. Byron Allen is hoping that under the umbrella of a Reconstruction era civil rights law that says companies cannot discriminate based on race in business contracts, he'll put a stop to the dismissive nature of these cable companies And Allen's Entertainment Studios Media Group is basically, he owns basically 43 syndicate television series, 8 cable networks. He also owns like the Weather Channel. He has a movie studio. And currently there are roughly about 50 pay TV operators that are distributed through Comcast. And it also includes content from like Verizon, DirecTV, RCN, and Sudden Link, and they have about roughly 80 million subscribers. And so Comcast and Charter claimed that their decisions were based on capacity constraints, not race. And the cable giants asserted that Allen's TV, he has several stations. So he has Justice Central TV, Cars TV, Pet TV, Comedy TV. And he said basically that Comcast and Charter are pretty much preventing him from being able to conduct business. Mm-hmm. And basically what they're saying is that, or what he's basically saying is that the suit is not allowing him to basically to operate as an executive and to reach those 80 million subscribers. And so roughly there's 40 million Black people in the US. And so he's basically saying that they're preventing him from reaching those Black subscribers. Mm-hmm. And so in order for Comcast to fulfill its promise to the government, after acquiring NBC Universal in 2011, they needed to add 4 African-American owned networks. And so earlier this year, they added Afro and Clio TV to the roster. And they already had Magic Johnson's Aspire and Sean P. Diddy Combs, whatever you want to call him these days. His, I'm sorry. He got some confused child. Oh, wow. And so basically what they're basically saying is like, okay, we've met our quota. We don't need any more. And so, Allen has already made like several moves to kind of get these subscribers included into their lineup. He secured Disney. He also secured the Weather Channel. And so in total, it's about $10.6 billion in acquisition. So that makes him the richest Black man in the United States, if you really want to put the numbers to paper. And so basically, Allen is suing the telecommunication giants, Comcast and Charter Communications, because he's saying that the companies have refused to distribute his stations while launching scores of mostly white-owned networks. And as one example of alleged racism, Comcast's lawsuit claims that a company executive said, and I quote, "We are not trying to create any more Bob Johnsons." And if any of you are familiar with Bob Johnson, Bob Johnson is the owner of, or the former owner of BET. Mm-hmm. Yes. And so Entertainment Studios lost in the federal district court, but won a reversal in the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Ninth Circuit. And a key to the Comcast case before the Supreme Court is whether the network must show that race was the sole reason for the denial of a contract or just one factor. And the Charter case is likely being held right now. I mean, I know it's still up for grabs. He won initially the $20 billion lawsuit, but Comcast and Charter's communication, it basically went to the appeals court to have that decision reversed. So I'm hoping you guys are following all of this information that I'm giving to you.
Yes.
Basically, Allen issued a statement basically saying that, he was basically predicting victory. And he's basically saying that he's going to win the case. And he's basically saying that it's not about having African-American themed programming, but more or less about African-American ownership of networks. And so, Charter is basically saying that, no, it's not the case. We just don't want it because there's no content for it. There's no one who we feel will subscribe to his channel. Now, mind you, the stations that I just read off.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So, I want to jump in, ladies, and I want to talk about why this is important for independent media, Black media at that. Because this case And for those who are not familiar with the 1866 Civil Rights Bill, basically what it did was it allowed us to do business contracts, business deals. Discrimination could no longer happen, which means that they couldn't prevent us from, like he's doing, Byron Allen, like he's trying to basically get syndication from these cable companies. This basically says that you cannot discriminate against a Black, quote unquote, owner who's trying to conduct business. And so this is why this is important for like a lot of people in the community, because if he's basing his whole case for the lawsuit based on this whole Civil Rights Act of 1866. So I just want to know from each one of you, like, why do you feel like this is important from a Black independent media company standpoint?
Well, I'm going to go back to the 1866 Civil Rights Act. And also, since we've been talking about the Black codes, that's one of them. I remember this number 10, Professor Griff told us to, keep that in mind. And number 10 basically says that we look for every opportunity to start our own businesses, searching the needs of our people first. And this is a great example of what Byron is doing. In the media, we are so subjected to being behind the scenes, not saying what we need to do, how we represent ourselves. Here we have someone who's actually given us opportunity to put ourselves out there in different, position. Not just, we could be producers, we could be writers, we could start our own shows and own the channel, and not just a percentage of it, but the whole thing. This is a great opportunity for our kids to see. I'm with it 100%. I'm standing behind him. I hope that he take it all the way to the top and win. Like I said, it's a great example, and I just want the best for him, and I think he's going to win. And he's bringing things back to the community.
Okay, Alex, what's your take on it?
Peace, Quan. Peace, Carrie. Peace, Professor Griff and Sirius Mindz family. The first thing that came to my mind after you talked about this is that this is about opportunity. I mean, it's about opportunity. And I happened to write down the Civil Rights Act of 1866, and I want to share it with the family so we can have a broader understanding of exactly what it states. The Civil Rights Act of 1866 was the first United States federal law to define citizenship and affirm that all citizens are equally protected by law, equal being the same or indistinguishable. So he's not getting that opportunity right now. Why? Another thing too I wanted to mention, why only of the 4 African-American networks that were chosen to fulfill the 2011 agreement, I mean, why are those the only 4 options? What if those aren't the collective voices for our people? So it just seems like the opportunity isn't given. And for Byron to take it to the Supreme Court, for it to go that high, it should be heard there. Because if you're going to make the laws, you need to ensure the laws and reaffirm them. All of them.
That's right.
And I totally agree, because at the heart of this case, we have to, as in a group and also ask ourselves individually, like, if you were in his position and you refuse a business contract, do you have the right to use your civil rights to really stand on your liberties and say, hey, in 1866, this act specifically says that I have the right to conduct business. I have the right to file this lawsuit because you're discriminating against me. And, it's crazy because, once again, white supremacy, here they go telling us what we can and cannot do, what we should and should not be putting out there to the masses. And I think in Byron's case, he's more, I don't think it's so much about him putting out Black shows. I think it's more for him, it's like, okay, we have good shows. We have comedy. We have Disney. We have the Weather Channel. We have cars. We have like a plethora of different options. And it's just not about love and hip hop or, something that's going to be derogatory towards the Black community.
Exactly.
We have content to put out there. So what's your excuse? You're basically saying, and I quote that, oh, no, it's not about being African American. It's because, oh, they're basically saying, and I want to quote this correctly. They're basically saying that the reason for this is because the capacity constraints, and it's not about race. So basically they're saying that, oh, well, we have enough, so you adding this is just going to be saturating the stations, and it's too much. We only need so much. That's too much for, you know, our bill and the people and our listeners and subscribers and what they want to listen to. And Byron is basically saying, no, I just totally disagree with you on that. And I commend him, because that's a large taking to take on two major corporations, and he also sued, which is going to be my segue to my next question, L. Sharpton, the NAACP, and the National Urban League. And so he specifically named, you know, these folks because, one, they're accepting donations and salaries from these two particular companies. And so if you do the research, you would find that these people have been given salaries. And we're talking about almost $1 million to L. Sharpton. They paid $30,000 for his birthday party. If that's not hush money, I don't know what is.
Oh, my goodness. I can't believe it.
Yeah, and they're, you know, Mark Moriel, if you look at his salaries, like, these are supposed to be nonprofit organizations, and they are getting these hell of like donations from these two particular companies. And it's like, to me, it's all hush money, because they're advocates for the Black community, but yet they're taking these backhand deals and they're not fighting for us. They're supposed to advocate for us, and they're not. So what's your take on it, baby?
No, you're right. I mean, absolutely right. I know I'm not into the numbers and stuff, but if you notice, everything happens all at one time. First, you had last month with Jay-Z, just getting a piece of pie and trying to hush everyone up by saying, we don't need to kneel no more. We're going to move forward with doing X, Y, and Z. And now you get this. You get a brother who's actually doing things, like I stated earlier, doing different things for our community, our people, behind the scene, in front of the scenes, and they want to shut him up. And then you have those who are also shocking and jiving by getting paid out to keep us quiet. So it's like you get pros and cons with everything. And in life, you have to decide which one you're going to stand for something or stand for nothing at all. And I feel like I'm with Byron. If he wants to give all his money, put it in the table, and bring things positive for our community, that's the way to do it. But we also have to keep in mind that we have people that look like us, sound like us, that's going to tear us down. And that's the part that's very scary.
Like, what's your take on it, Alex?
Sorry, Carrie, absolutely. And not only that will take us down, but aren't for us. And that's the nice way to be, you know, put without being disrespectful or get personal. Right. Because I know some days, I don't know about you ladies, but I just want to just make it plain. Bleep, 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 bleep.
Explode.
You know what I mean? But hopefully some of that hush money will be used to pay off them taxes. But, you know, we don't let that be. But my whole thing is, you know, when does the contract renewal take place then? If y'all got full capacity, you know what I'm saying? There's always some reason. You know, what did Charter Communications base their decision off of, really? You know, if it's not race, because you're at full capacity, you know what I'm saying? I mean, is it he's overqualified? Is he a threat to white supremacist racist structure? You know, like, what's really the reason? You know what I'm saying? If you look at America and the foundation in itself, like, why are we playing? Why should he have to prove that it's not because of race if he's being denied?
Absolutely,
you know?
Alex.
Why are we not focusing on the 1866 law that says equality, indistinguishable equality? So it just seems like beating a dead horse, and there's a time to where this demise is going to come to an end. And I'm proud of him to get to how far he's come, for him to articulate himself at this type of level, to be for, you know, dignity and not selling out, and calling out those who have, and challenging the system. Because if, you know, you want to grow and you want to be for the people and you want to do it in a dignified, respectable manner, I commend him for the way he's doing it and not selling out.
Right, because you can't buy us. You can't buy all of us. You can buy some, but you definitely can't buy all of us.
That's right. And you might be able to shut him down, but you can't kill the idea. How about that?
And so I was just thinking, like, you know, organizations like the NAACP, the National Urban League, and I hate to say this, but also Action Network, the Rainbow Coalition, those folks, they are supposed to be the voices and at the front line for us. And to me, when I look at them, they're more or less like ambulance chasers. It's like they only go with their bullhorns to the causes that's going to give them media coverage. But when it all boils down, when you look at cases like the Byron Allen situation, they're like nowhere to be found. Instead, they're in the back room taking these back deals. And it's like, like, why are you here? What is your purpose? Like, at what point are you going to get your act together and realize that, hey, the whole purpose of you being in place is to help your community and your fellow brother and sister? And, like, if you're not doing that, then it's like you are completely taking up space and wasting everyone's time. But instead, they're buttering their hands in their pockets, and, they're basically just misleading a lot of folks. And it's just sad because we need people to fight for us. And a lot of times, some people don't know that they can use this case to help to win a lawsuit. A lot of people don't know that. You know what I mean?
That's going to bring me back to that one. Yes, you're absolutely right, because I've been through some stuff, and now that I'm listening, I'm like, wow, I didn't know I could use that. Because I'm sure everybody on this chat, someone, or maybe a couple of us, has been through things that we couldn't fight because we didn't know where to start, what law to use, where to go for help. And he's absolutely helping us by letting us know there's ways to get out of things. And when you've been through racial discrimination, you shouldn't just take it lightly. You have to push forward. And sometimes you have to be the one to set that tone for everyone else. That's why I appreciate everything that he's doing right now.
So what if YouTube or any other platform decides, you know what, I don't want Black people broadcasting on this platform anymore? Or what if they denied you the ability to have ads, for your Black company, or, if they prevent Black people from the ability to receive donations on Super Chat or Cash App or PayPal or etc. I mean, right now, to be honest with you, they're doing it to Brother Rich on his channel. Like, he can't even get Super Chat on YouTube, and it's like I've seen them strip a lot of, like, Jason Black and, Professor Truth, and, like, all these people, like, they've stripped them of their ability to conduct business. And, what's sad about it is that, this can really affect all of us. I look at people like the Honorable Minister Farrakhan and others who have been completely banned from YouTube and all these other social media platforms. And it's like, okay, without the Civil Rights Act, how can we be protected from these sanctions? How can we be protected from these corporations who come in and strip us of all of our rights? What happened to the freedom of speech? What happened to the ability to conduct business under the Civil Rights Act? So what's your take on this, ladies?
Quan, you said something very powerful. We can enact all the laws we want, but unless they're applied and put into action, change is not going to happen. Because if it's going to affirm that all citizens are equally protected by law, then that means all. And that's the problem.
Yeah, and they just I see it happening to, the people we consider as leaders or as our elders, and it's disheartening because it's like, okay, where's their protection? Like, if they can do this to these people who are in the forefront and on the media platforms every day fighting for justice and fighting to get the information put out there for little people like myself, it's like, well, where do I stand? I stand a poor chance in hell, and it's like, it's very disheartening because it's like, had the NAACP, had Action Network and all these other folks in the Urban League, they were doing what they were said to do, then these people can be fighting on the behalf of the Farrakhans, the behalf of the Brother Rich, behalf of all the people who have been, like, at the drop of a dime being stripped of their legal rights. And they're not at all. And earlier, Carrie, you were saying that ownership, you went back to Professor Griff's book, The Warrior's Tapestry, and you said number 10, it's about, creating Black businesses and having, Black ownership. And so, Byron Allen actually was quoted by saying, everyone talks about diversity, but diversity in Hollywood and the media starts with ownership. And I couldn't agree with him more, because I believe, like, we cannot fight white supremacy if we don't have the financing and the economic backing for it. Like, we can't have that power that if we don't have the foundation to fight this. Absolutely. And so I'm always pushing to make sure, like, you know, whoever I come across is like, make this out of a business. You know, if that's your talent, your skill set or whatever, make it out of a business. But back to Byron Allen, it's so important to have ownership, Black ownership, not just because of our civil liberties, but also because it creates jobs and it creates wealth, and we can leave a legacy behind. So, ladies, what's your thought on this, on Black ownership and the importance of being like a Black owner when it comes to business?
I mean, with Black ownership, you're absolutely correct, 100%. But we also have to have the support of our own people. This is the thing that's I'm critical about. Like, we have this platform right now, and sometimes we go on chat and we want people to be more involved. We can't do it alone. We need to hear from others as well. And if you feel something important and dear to your heart, just like what's happening with Byron, you have to speak up. You can't stay quiet. You know for a fact that these corporations, NAACP, the Rainbow Coalition, there's always one inside that's going to do whatever they have to do to dismantle, to get that little piece of pie so he can live off freely and do whatever he wants. That's in every circle. It doesn't have to be with African American. It could be with Latinos. It could be with Indians. There's always one. But if you stand united and strong, trust me, we can become better people as a group. So he did his thing quietly. He did exactly what he needed to do to get to the top. Now they're trying to knock him down. They did the same thing with Bill Cosby. You know, but we didn't stick together. We didn't push forward. Not us per se, but all of us all together. I think that's what we need, to be unified. And maybe we can make a change.
Quan and Carrie, there was another quote. The cable industry spends $70 billion a year licensing cable networks, and 100% African American owned media receives zero. So where's the equality? I just don't get it. And again, you know, the passion is really high on this one. So instead of me, you know, bleep, 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 I just want to say, you know, some basic things. I mean, diversity is necessary to reach all cultures and all ethnicities across the board, right?
Right.
So ownership allows the ability to conduct business with other populations that might be overlooked.
Right.
Okay, so we need corporations with a diverse ownership population in order to expand Black wealth, okay, which will implement more jobs that are indistinguishable amongst other American businesses here and globally. So again, opportunity and application. And to be honest, we're here in America. We're not going anywhere. So that is our foundation. That 1866 Voting Rights Act is our foundation. It needs to be applied specifically for every citizen equally.
That's right.
I couldn't agree with you more. Like, to me, this whole case really opens my eye to, like, what individually, from an individual standpoint, like the fights and the plight that we have to go through just to get on top. And a lot of times, you know, people may see you doing well, but a lot of times they don't see the struggle. You look at somebody like a Byron Allen, who's supposed to be this $7 billion, you know, person who's worth $7 billion. You would think that, oh, he got it made. It's all good. He has no worries. No, this man is fighting for his livelihood. He's fighting not only for himself, but also for every other Black person that this affects. Like, he's literally doing this fight because guess what? If he loses this case, you know what? The next Comcast type company can come along and be like, no, based on the Supreme Court case, we don't have to do business with you. And they can cite that case as a reason for it. This is why this is important. A lot of people are like, why are we discussing it? Why this? This is why. Anytime you have a case like this, if he loses, somebody else can come back or come afterwards and say, you know what? Based on this Supreme Court ruling, I'm citing this as a reason of why we should win our case and not be sued.
That's right.
You know, and so go ahead.
Well, you know what, to that, Quan, then I'll say, how about it be a case-by-case basis?
That's right.
examine thoroughly, okay? Because if it's about opportunity, give each case, if this one case is denied, its own opportunity and circumstances to be mitigated and looked upon from a legal standpoint that's equitable for each party. Okay, so again, this is about opportunity. And to the statement that was made earlier about, you know, we don't want to create Bob Johnson jobs. Oh, but y'all want to be entertained by the Bobs and the Johnsons and NFL and NBA, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So it's just systemic. The white, racist, systemic society structure isn't for Black people. So there's still a big fight on our hands, period, no matter what.
And it's so true because, you know, just looking at this, again, you're right. It should be on an individual basis. But, you know, with court systems, it's like they always cite in some case or another. And depending on which side you're, whether you're the defense or the prosecution, you know, they cite various, you know, cases to make their case, quote unquote, seem more viable or to win their case in that matter. And so I just want to segue into L Sharpton, since we were on him in a Jay-Z deal. Because to me, you know, they both accepted money, right? And I guess I'll throw Mark Morial. He's from New Orleans, so I'm going to throw him in his bag too. They both. Yeah, I'm going to throw him in that bag too. Because
that gumbo soup. Yeah.
He can pull his draws with me. And, you know, okay, so they both have accepted money from white corporations. Now, in both cases, we discussed the Jay-Z deal about a week or so ago. And so in both cases, they both took the money, even though we were fighting. If you look at Byron Allen and you look at Kaepernick, see the similarities where these guys are fighting for justice, but yet you have somebody like a Jay-Z or L Sharpton that comes and undermine them and take backhand deals. And then we have all of us scratching our heads and looking like we're crazy, like, what the hell? What are you doing?
Right.
Like, we're trying to fight for civil liberties, and you're taking these backhand deals. It's like you're making our case null and void because of what you're doing. Call it capitalist type mindset, call it whatever you want, but at the end of the day, what you're doing is undermining the cause. So I want to know, what's your take on Jay-Z versus L Sharpton and how they're basically dealing with, you know, this whole situation?
I have a quick question just for clarification, and maybe those in the chat might wonder too. What did Al Sharpton do now? What did he do? What did he do this time?
Dance. You've seen him lately. He's been dancing. He's been basically trying to get a show on MSNBC. Anytime there's a Black man shot, he tries to get on TV and be the go-to person with the bullhorn. So yeah, that's what he's been doing lately. Nothing productive, but yeah.
Okay. So action-wise, nothing feasible as an action and solution to end those deaths and, you know, to succumb to police brutality and social injustice and the same thing that's been going on for pretty much, you know, centuries. Gotcha. Well, right. I can't speak on L Sharpton because I don't know exactly more information on it. But, you know, if it's the same behavioral and mindset of the Jay-Z situation where he played the player, you know, doing backdoor deals to solidify a financial position is not going to give you spiritual freedom, and it's not going to free our people and open the door for the ones behind us. So I will humbly sit down and allow and listen to Kat share and listen to Quan.
Yeah, before you jump in, Kat, like I'm really looking at Jay-Z like as the new L Sharpton.
Right.
Real talk.
I was gonna say that.
He's like the new L Sharpton of our day. He's like that version. Go ahead, Kate.
No, it was just, I think Professor Griff wanted to know from our point of view as women, how do we feel about what's going on? And for me, it's just poor representation of Black men on the platform. They had a higher platform. They're visible. They're out there. They can reach people and let them know their kind. Let them know, hey, this is what we're going to do. This is the business we're going to do. This is the move we're going to make. Instead, they're just selling us out for a little bit of money. And what does that tell our children, a future? That no matter what, you don't stick with your own kind. Everybody else stick with their own kind. Everybody else bring everyone generation wealth. We talked about this before. We do everything opposite. And then we have Black men who actually don't care. When is this going to stop? You have those that really care and helping us, but you have more at the platform that don't care at all. You have Al Sharpton, you have Jay-Z. There's plenty others. Mm-hmm. And this is what Byron is talking about. This is what he's really trying to say, Alan is trying to say, that you have these couple of people sitting at the table who don't give a damn, excuse me for my language, about us. And
so let me read. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me read a quote from Al Sharpton. So he says, National Action Network has been served with papers and considers this claim frivolous. If in fact we are to be served, we would gladly defend our relationship with any company as well as to the state on the record why we found this discriminatory accusations made by said party to be less than credible and benefit the standards that we engage, which means absolutely goddamn nothing. What I'm reading is.
Oh, look, I was about to be like, the part in that quote that stuck out to me is we. Oh, we say we, boss? What you mean we? It's a movement. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But again, these people will die. The idea cannot be killed. So let's focus on people that agree with Byron Allen. You know what I'm saying? People in this chat room that see things for what they are. Because the opportunity for Black wealth, Black ownership, corporations, companies, businesses, CEOs, all that is being denied. So I'm glad that the Department of Justice is being included. What is the Department of Justice going to do about diversity and supporting Byron Allen?
Do you have something, Carrie, that you want to add?
No, that's she's hit it right there. I'm with it, Alex.
For real, like what's that? I mean, and even when you said the Department of Justice, is it justice or just us? Justice, just us, just us. You know what I'm saying? What's up? What's up? These are the laws y'all laid. Apply them, implement them for every citizen. That means the gays. That means the Polish, the Italians, the Jews, the Americans of that white genre. That applies to Black, African descent, and ethnicities as well. Yes, I don't understand.
It's exhausting. I mean, they do everything just to stop it. There's always a loophole. So some days I'm like, I can't. I don't know how everybody else feel in the chat, but it's so exhausting to hear that you've been stopped because of your color of your skin, or you've been denied this because, again, your color of your skin. It's always a loophole. And like I stated before, we have to stick together to overcome some of these differences.
But I don't know, for me, it's like when somebody tells me no, that gives me like almost like a Power Ranger. It's just, it energizes me because it's like, say no for what? Who? Okay. The more you tell me no, the more in my mind I'm saying there's nothing impossible. I can do it. I can do it. Like you can't deny me anything. And I know there's white supremacy systems set up, but it's just, again, for me, no, it's motivation because the more you tell me no, the more that I'm going to probably fight and push to make this thing happen.
But Quan and Alex, right? But Quan and Alex, we are different mindset. I'm worried about the ones who not educated or maybe don't have the support that we have. You know,
I get what you're saying. Right. No, I get what you're saying. What I'm saying is, in this struggle, we cannot give up just because it's frustrating or we're tired. When they were going through the civil rights movement, the Jim Crow movement, or Harriet Tubman, any one of those folks, do you think they said in their mind, oh, I'm tired, I can't finish it? No, they pushed it forward because they know it was bigger than themselves. They had to push it forward. Even with, in the case of Byron Allen, I'm quite sure he's probably saying, you know what, I'm so goddamn tired of these white people. They getting on my nerve. You know? But at the end of the day, he's probably saying, no, it's bigger than me. I have to fight for this because this is going to determine what happens after me. So
Absolutely. And to interject and to piggyback off what you just said, Quan and Carrie, Quan, when you say they, yes, they were tired, and they, as our ancestors and those that went before us and paved the way and opened the doors, like Madam C.J. Walker, who went from the field to the washtub to the kitchen and positioned herself and opened the doors for other Black, beautiful women who are entrepreneurs. And they didn't have education, but they had a salesmanship, and that became their business because they had opportunity. And you know what Madam C.J. Walker did? She spoke up and used her voice. She wasn't going to be denied. And that's what we get to do on this platform. It enriches us, it gives us the opportunity to come into ourselves, to be stronger, to get more information, to apply, and to have a knowledge base to operate from. So I'm right with you, Quan, because I know there's been times where I've been discriminated against and been denied and told that I would do things in a specific time frame because it was that time frame for that person. No, my life path is different from your life path, and my spiritual journey is for me. And so hopefully by being denied, this will provoke Byron Allen to continue to go forward, even if he is denied. And if he's not denied, hopefully Charter Communications or AT&T and Comcast can open up the door and say, hey, well, we have an opportunity now for you and other Black owners who are on this platform who want at least a percentage of this $70 billion income that's currently going to 0 African-American owners.
Yes.
Yeah, like you hit it on the nail, babe. Look, I want to go back to, you remember I was quoting Allen as saying that everyone talks about diversity, but diversity in Hollywood and in media starts with ownership. And he also was going in on President Obama in a Democratic Party. He said that they have completely excluded the African American community when it comes to economic inclusion. And for those who are not familiar with that, it means that, you know, you can't just conduct business and do economic policies without having diversity and having us in mind. And basically, he also stated that, you know, the president of Charter Communication, Tom Rutledge, is a blatant racist. And so he's like, you know, off of Dave Chappelle's show, where he was like, bullet shot, bullet shot, bullet shot. Bullet shot, but like he's taking shots. He don't care. He didn't name from the Democratic Party to Obama to the owner. He like, I'm calling everybody out.
That's
and
right.
This is why I like him and his stance. You know, like he's not sugarcoating it. He's basically saying, look, at the end of the day, I'm going to say what it is so that everyone knows, and I'm calling them out on their BS. So that's why I love when he did that, because at the end of the day, when I look back at Obama's legacy, he did absolutely nothing for the Black community. That economic inclusion that Byron Allen is referring to, he did absolutely nothing for us to include it or make sure that we have these necessary policies. Now, did he do something for the LGBTQ2 and ABC people? Yeah, he sure did.
He did.
He made it possible for them to get a lot of things happening for them. But for us, we got nothing out of the deal. Nothing at all. So I just really appreciate him doing that. So what's your take on it, ladies?
Yeah, that's jacked up too, because that was my first time voting, you know what I'm saying, 2008, you know.
For real.
Black president, you know. So we got rope-a-dope by a face, but we didn't look at the agenda. Was it a Black agenda? Was the values and the principles and the interests African-based, African-centered? Was it for Black people? You know, and then Chicago being the hometown with the crime rate and the murders. Like, man, where are these murders really coming from? You know what I'm saying? Like, so many things were slipped in the door. Like, we were pacified by seeing a darker skin tone, but were we really seeing economic results? So, it's all cold.
Yeah, we were bamboozled. That's it. He was there. He was put up there. He was the chosen one, as we spoke about several times. He was the chosen one to keep us quiet, to keep us at ease.
They sure choose, because, man, he got charisma. He a Leo. He real tall.
I know.
He a lefty. You know, I didn't read the book, the Michelle book. You know, I don't want to take away from someone's success. You know, it's just like, damn, yo, is everybody out here, like, you know, docile and complacent? And
very. I'm sorry about that, baby. Yeah, but here's what I'm saying, right? Like, in the words of Black Dot, basically what Obama sold was hope-amine. He sold hope. He didn't deliver not one thing. Hope-amine is basically what he sold. And unfortunately, we got a bill of sale, and we didn't get anything out of the whole situation. No. And we put our trust in him, not only one presidency, but the second one. It was like, well, he's a Black man.
Absolutely.
We get the economic inclusion on this round, but next round, it's our turn. We coming up. You know what happened? Go ahead, baby. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, too, you know, even the second term, they denied his Supreme Court appointing. So, I mean, even with him being Black as president, he had no power.
Right.
I agree. He did absolutely nothing for us, and I'm just glad that you have pillars in the community like Byron Allen that's calling this stuff out, because some people see Obama like he's Black Jesus or something. I can't. Like, they don't see no wrong with this guy, and it's just unfortunate. But some
wasn't Al Sharpton part of his he was working for President Obama, if I'm not mistaken.
Man, let me tell you something about this. No, ma'am.
Okay.
Al Sharpton, it was Jesse Jackson, it was somebody else that went up there. He wouldn't even let him in the White House. Oh. They had to stand outside in the snow under umbrella. He would not even see him inside of. This is well documented. Google it.
Okay, I will.
Would not even allow this man inside of the White House. We talking about Obama. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Now, mind you, remember Jesse was all in the audience crying and stuff with tears.
Yes, I remember.
Oprah, yes. Shivering down his little cheekbone. Yeah. And he wouldn't even allow him in the White House. None of them. Okay. None of them. Okay.
Quan, real quick, that made me think of that Mike. That made me think of that Mike Epps stand up when he said he looked like a drunk Pekingese standing there crying.
Yes. Oh my God. Okay. Like, it just shows it's just pure madness. But lastly, first I just want to say, everybody, please make sure you like, subscribe, and share. If you like to support the platform, please hit up the super chat. You can hit up PayPal, or you can hit the Cash App for Professor Griff. And so I do want to close out the last question. And the other night, Professor Griff was covering the Byron Allen case. And as you know, I was going back and forth with this gentleman. And it was nothing personal or none of that. But I seen some people was like, well, Quan, are you beefing with him? Like, we good. It's no bad blood. It's like, it's all good.
Yeah.
But what we were discussing is like, he was like, oh, Byron Allen is a powerful man. And I was like, yeah, he cut checks. He supports the Black community. He creates jobs, but he doesn't have any power. I mean, he has all those wonderful attributes, but he has absolutely no power. And he was like, oh, well, yeah, he does. I totally disagree. And I was like, why? Because if he had power, he wouldn't have to sue for a seat at the table, okay?
Facts. And not only that, but if he had power, there would need to be a damn 1866 voting.
Right, civil rights. There you go.
To even have to denounce racial bias. But that gentleman came from one perspective. So let's hear again, Quan, what you were saying that he might have not comprehended at that point in time.
So what I'm saying is this. What's power? Power is the ability to do business and not have to beg for a seat at the table or threaten with a lawsuit or $20 billion lawsuit to conduct business. That's not power. Yes, he is using a tool of the Supreme Court and the laws that we have on books to get a seat at the table. But at the end of the day, if he really had power, he wouldn't need to do any of those things. You think Comcast had to sue to get their position? Do you think AT&T had to sue to get their position? No. These white corporations do not have to go through what we go through. That's what I'm saying about power. White supremacy has power. That's what white supremacy is. Power. The ability to create policy. The ability to control banking systems. The ability to do all of these things that we basically have to damn near sue.
Right.
Have a march and go on this whole, movement to make stuff happen. That's not power to me. Now, do I support Byron Allen? Absolutely, to the T. Because I believe what he's doing is going to help a lot of people that comes behind him.
Yes, set the tone. That's right.
Yeah, it's going to set the tone. But does he have power right now? No. No, absolutely not. I can't name a person who does, to be honest with you. I really can't. And this is the richest man in the U.S. Right. What's your take on it, ladies?
No, you're absolutely right. Those of colors who are in power, or supposedly up there, are in cahoots with the white person, a white man, a woman, the elites. They can't do but so much. So you're absolutely right when you talk about power. We have to buckle down and do what we have to do in order to get a little percentage of everything. So I understood what you said last night.
What you think on it, Alex?
Yeah, this is where it gets sad and becomes emotional, and the passion is just like, man, I mean, and this is going to be sarcastic, so I want for the Sirius Mindz family not to take this literally, but this is just coming from the mindset of one who could be a white supremacist with a racism mindset of, you know, destruction and domination and deception. I mean, black power in a system of white supremacy is seen as a threat. I mean, it's seen as energy that must be detained, dispersed properly, or even destroyed. I mean, black power in a system of white supremacy is seen as a monetary gain. It's seen as an opportunity for exploitation and extraction. I mean, black power in a system of white supremacy is taken as a joke.
That's one of the things I stated, like, in the comments. It's like, you know how these white corporations are looking at Byron Allen? Like $1 billion, like, what is he worth? $7 billion. I wanted to say the N-word, but I didn't. But I'm going to just say Negro, or slave in the eyes of white supremacy, that who's basically begging for a seat at the table. And my only thing is, instead of begging for a seat at the table, why don't you create the table? You build the table. But I understand what he's trying to do, because it's a conglomerate of these organizations and corporations who own it, and they're not letting anybody in. So I get where he's coming from with that. But at the same time, too, he's fighting to get power. That's the whole gist of what I was saying. Like, he's fighting to get power. And right now, he doesn't have that power. He's really powerless, if you really ask me, because, again, if you got to beg, sue, damn near kill to get your position or to get what you need out of life, then you have no power, period. All you are is an employer, period. That's it. Power is not having to do that. When you think with white supremacy, when they want stuff done, they get it done, period.
Right.
That's what I want to get us out of that. And I'm talking about us as a whole, as a collective, where we don't have to basically sue every time we want to do a business contract. That's crazy. Why we have to sue every time we want to do a business contract?
Yeah.
I want to get to that power level where we're not begging these folks to do business with them. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I make myself clear, does everybody understand what I'm doing? Because I don't want to go over nobody's head or under somebody.
This is what I said earlier. It's like exhausting. You are absolutely right. Why do we have to keep going through this over every century? It's like, come on now. I mean, the elite are in power. It's like, really?
Yeah, well, every generation is a different level of white supremacy, right?
Yes,
like, every level brings a new devil, as they put it. So, you know, when you look at it, at the end of the day, you know, yeah, we may be moving forward, not by much, but we are dealing with a different level of it. And it's a chess game. You know, it's not checkers, it's a chess game. So every time we think we've made strides, they've already planned 20 years down the line is to put things into place that's going to affect our children's children.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. Yes. 20 years. When you say 20 years, think about 500 years and bloodlines and all this extra crazy stuff.
Right.
But what I will say, ladies, in Sirius Mindz family is that, you know, he's positioning himself patiently and putting the accountability back in the law of the land, which I think is appropriate. And time is an ingredient that we all must utilize. So,
amen. That's right. And you know what they say? The quiet storm is the one that brings out the loudest roar. So he's doing it.
Yeah, I just want us to recognize the importance of this, understand what power means and how it positions us for the future. You know, we have to, you know, position ourselves so that we don't have to keep begging people for opportunities. We should be able to create our own opportunities, our own situations, so that, you know, at the end of the day, no, we don't gotta go ask master, like, hey, can you please allow me to put my on your cable network, please? No, create your own network. You get what I'm saying?
Yes, I do.
That's where I want us as a collective to be. Now, some people don't probably think like that, but for me, that's power. That's moving us forward. You know what I'm saying?
I'm with you 100%.
Yeah, and so it's like, I just look at everything that we've been discussing, and it's just amazing that all of it has a common thread. You know, from the Monique all the way down to the Jay-Z, all the way down to this. And what I'm seeing is just, we got to get out of this cowardice mindset, docile and just meek and scared. Like, we got to get out of it. We got to be, you know, get out of this position where we are too afraid to make major moves. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. And we don't need no more pep talks or foghorn announces and all that crazy neutralization tactics to be submissive. And it's one thing to be meek, but it's another thing to be ignorant and naive. And we are not any of that. The opportunity for us to be at the table needs to be present. So the Department of Justice and the Supreme Court will have to speak and reflect all citizens in America equally.
Yeah.
Yes, Alex.
And what we have to do to support this brother, like, you know, whether it's signing a petition, whether it's calling your local politicians and being in support of this brother, you know, we have to be able to get behind this brother, because it's something about our energy that is undeniable. We have to be able to get behind him and help move this, because right now, for the longest, the black journalists, again, all these other black organizations were quiet. You can hear crickets roaring. Bottom line is, until people like, you know, the ADOS community and a lot of people start talking about it and bringing it to the forefront, now you're starting to see these people say, oh, well, we're supportive of it. Yeah, where were you a year ago? Where were you in 2016 when this man was complaining about Obama and the Democratic Party? Like, where were you this whole entire time? So we have to support this brother. You may not agree with him wholeheartedly in his decisions and a lot of things that he's done, but at the end of the day, it affects you. Yeah. If you're trying to do black contracts or you quote unquote black business deals, and you trying to get into that quote unquote white supremacy world, then it affects you at the end of the day. Please understand me when I say that.
It does, right?
Yeah.
You know, I just go ahead.
And Quan, sorry. And another thing too, it does affect us, because if he can open the door to that $70 billion piece of the pie, think about economically what that will do for our people and all the black entrepreneurs across America and the globe. African descent being in positions of power to have land, to increase economic value, to make generational wealth. So, I mean, it's very exciting. And Carrie, like you said, the blueprint, the black code, do business with each other, don't fight each other. So I'm encouraged too, Quan. And please, ladies, say something beautiful to end this off on a positive note. I love
I always do. I always do.
I need it, because it fortifies my spirit. And I know there's listeners in this chat that look forward to, you know, when something positive is shared to keep the momentum rolling.
Well, I will say this. I know it may seem discouraging. I know it may even seem like as if we're not taking any strides forward, but do realize that the energy that you're putting out there right now, this fight that whatever you're doing right now, it's going to be something that's going to be not only influential for your life, but for your legacy that's going to come behind you. You know, so don't get discouraged. You know, just realize that anything worth fighting for is going to take time. It's a process. You got to trust the process. You know, you may have to fight some organization, or you may have to do this, or you may have to do that, but do realize that, you know, if you just keep on keeping on,
change will
you'll
come.
be fine. Yeah, things will come. It's going to work out for everybody's benefit. It's going to help you, you know, and don't be afraid to start that business.
I would like to say, I would like to also say that.
Out on this one. Hold on, Carrie.
Okay.
Alex, I'm calling you out on this one too, sis. Like, I want to see you start this business. I want to see others. You know, we tonight.
Music. That's right.
You know, tonight we're talking about the Sista Cypha, but on Wednesdays, you know, we have a lot of artists that tune into us weekly who put out their music, including yourself, Alex. Like, I think it's beautiful what you guys are doing, and you are very talented along with the others that are putting their music out. So if that means you know, if you starting a new business, or if you're, you know, going to record the CD or the album and put it out, whatever it is, You know, make it your business to move it forward. You know, action. If you don't put action behind that dream, then guess what it is, folks? Pie in the sky.
That's right.
That's all it is. So you got to be encouraged. You got to keep on moving forward. Look at this case as inspiration. You know, you're not the only one fighting, but just know that it's going to benefit everybody as a whole.
Right.
So
My stand was just keep supporting Black media. I mean, we have to support the Travis Smiley, Yvette Cornell, Brother Rich, everyone else. Yes, number one, yes, Professor. We have to support each other. So continue, please, supporting us. Even us, Sister Cyphers. Please. Yeah. Oh, we're bringing us to, are we going to announce? Yeah, announce the winner?
Yeah. Okay, so we would like to announce that we are going to be giving away a cap, correct? We're giving away a cap, a Sirius Mindz cap. So we want to congratulate our boy, Hassan.
Congratulations.
So we just want, because you tune in faithfully. Sometimes you come in the chat room and you're the first one in and you giving everybody their props and you always positive and you always like supporting the platform. So we just want to show you love from the Sista Cyphers and from Professor Griff. So we need to get your info so we can send you your gift on behalf of Cat Boogie. She's
BX, baby.
She's going to be sending you this lovely gift. So we just want to say, brother, we appreciate you. We honor you. We salute you. You know, thanks for supporting our good brother, Professor Griff, and all his efforts. You're always here supporting him. So we love you and we thank you.
Yes, peace. Blessing everyone.
So we just want to close everything out. Thank you, folks, for joining us. You can tune in next Tuesday for another Sister Cypher session. If you want to support the platform, make sure you hit the Cash App or Super Chat or PayPal. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. We love you. Peace, everyone.
Peace, everyone.
Peace, and thank you, Professor Griff, for the opportunity. Peace.
Oh, yes.
Peace.
Thank you, Griff.
Yes.
We appreciate it. We love you.
That's right. Each one teach one. Good night.
Good night. Bye.